Hello everyone, Newman of Consequence here, back with another video covering old school Dungeons & Dragons news. So just in case anyone doesn't know, Frank Mentzer is one of the original TSR employees, having worked there from 1980 to 86. And of course, one of his biggest claims to fame is that he co-authored the original Temple of Elemental Evil Adventure module, along with Gary Gygax. Yesterday, Frank posted this message on his Facebook account. On new works, well, I seem to be approaching a great outflow of material. It's been simmering for weeks and months, even years, but dinner is coming soon. As I am acutely aware of the many problems of age and health, and feel the breath of night whispering on occasion, I think the time has come. Do it or lose it. Projects on the table include E&E, not the real name. Now, I suppose this is meant to be a play on D&D. Anyway, he says, a new way to play all fantasy role-playing games, all. And a better way, I believe. Best. You don't have to change or learn or anything. Keep your present characters and system of choice. Just add this spice to the stew. Revolutionary, some say in playtest. Plus introductory scenario, 6 at least to start. I changed D&D once worldwide, not afraid to try it again. When Frank says he changed D&D once, he is no doubt referring to his Beckme line of rule books. Anyway, next he says, Echidna. In myth, the maid of Typhon, parents of many of the classic monsters we know and love. She is nearly ignored by every fantasy role-playing game, but no more. Now she and her lineage come into their time, and her return produced dozens of new monsters, all in a handy family tree for your use in any fantasy game. Status half finished. Alright, well that sounds good. Every DM likes new monsters for their campaign, ones which the players won't be familiar with. For number 3, he says, Aquaria. My home campaign began in 1977. I have a whole continent the size of America, filled with adventures and NPCs. It ran for 29 years online, and the game logs await cleanup. At least 30 adventure modules worth of fun in a 3-century timeline. Status, complete notes, final less than 10% finished. Alright, again, sounds good. A campaign setting almost as old as Greyhawk, with rich history and a solid pedigree is definitely something to look forward to. I looked around online and found this map of Aquaria, but it's something like 15 years old. No doubt Frank's upcoming release will look much better. Next he says, Immortal. The sorely needed campaign guide to Immortal play. This is the part TSR didn't publish, reverting instead to a goddish hack-em-up of Rathodl. It works like Redbox. Who you are and what you are now, and where, and your neighbor's job and new life, all step by step so you can start and play very fast. 20% finished. Now this is something I'm definitely looking forward to, because I expect that someday my high-level Roll20 campaign will reach this level. So new guidelines for DMing at this level of play will be a good thing to have. At number 5, he says, Bio. I am frequently pressured to collect my myriad tales into an autographical tome. Well, okay, maybe, but last on the list. I can understand why he assigns this project a low priority. He's just being humble. But I do hope he manages to get to it. And then finally he says, back catalog. This one's iffy. Many say I own the R series, RPGA 80 through 83, due to dubious legal claims by the now defunct publisher TSR. We may be reprinting those adventures and more, about 15 in all, repolished for modern use. 100% complete, but needs to be repackaged. Now, when Frank says the R modules, he's talking about these titles, R1 through 4. I suppose WotC could challenge Frank on their ownership, but who knows if they would. The bad PR that would come from it would not do them any favors. At any rate, reprints of these modules, plus a dozen or so new adventures by Frank, would be great to have. Okay, so here are all the projects listed together. However, I assume that Frank did not list them in any particular order because he lists his biography at number 5, but says it would actually be last on his to-do list. But what I'm going to do now is arrange these projects in my own personal order of preference and explain why I rank them as I do. These new Immortal rules would be first priority for me personally, because, like I say, I hope to actually use them someday in my own campaign. And if the Immortals rules of Beckme aren't what Frank had actually wanted to publish, then all the more reason for him to get this product out there now. I would put Frank's biography as next in the order of priority. We need more D&D histories written by people who are actually there at the time, and not the scribblings of so-called game historians who hadn't even been born yet, but who are now trying to grift off dragging Gygax's name through the mud. I'm putting Frank's back catalog at number 3 on the list, primarily because these would be adventures written by someone from TSR's early days, and it sounds like they're already completed. Next, I'm intrigued by this, quote, new way of playing fantasy role-playing games, and especially because it's not a new game system, but rather something that can be used with any existing system. If it were anyone but Frank, or perhaps Rob Kuntz coming out with this, I'm sure I would not be interested. However, in this case, I'm willing to listen. Next on my personal list of priorities would be Frank's campaign setting of Aquaria. I don't mean to throw shade on his setting by ranking it so low, I just doubt that I would actually use it. I might borrow from it heavily, but my games are always set in the world of Greyhawk. And then finally, last on my personal list of priorities would be the new Monsters thing. While I'm sure it will be interesting, I don't think it's going to be anything groundbreaking, and we already have a stable of thousands of monsters to draw upon. On a different note, Frank also posted that he's looking for a writer and an artist to help with these projects. So if you fall into one of those categories, you might consider reaching out to him. Anyway, I'm glad to see Frank pledging to work on these projects, and I think they will do well upon their release. Let's just hope that he manages to get them all out the door. Alright, well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you can, leave a comment and let me know what you think. If you haven't, please consider subscribing. And anything you do to help support the channel, I appreciate it. Thanks again. Bye for now.